play Air Force. I think they're an excellent football team. I know they came up with a big win against New Mexico last week, and the week before that they had a really competitive game against Army, and Army right now is playing really well. And last week we utilized the week to work on fundamentals. We also spent a great deal of time working on Air Force. I think we're probably as healthy as we have been, so that's encouraging coming into our last home game. Want to encourage our fans to honor these seniors. I think we got 14 of them that are going to be here. Some of these guys have played a lot of meaningful games, and so we're excited. Our football team's excited about playing Air Force. It's a big, big ball game. A couple notes that I do have here. Zach Watts will be back this week, so we're encouraged about that. Rocket Ishmael will also be back. CJ Colden, I would say right now would be questionable. We'll find out a little bit more information. He's getting really close to being cleared. So we're encouraged about that. A little bit about Air Force. I mean, they're a really attacking defensive front. They're probably as big up front as what they've been since I've been our head football coach on defense. Their numbers are really good. They're 22nd in the country on rushing defense, and so really challenging. They stun a lot, present a lot of different problems for us. They played a different quarterback last week for the entire game. Hammond played really well. He's a big, strong guy, 6'2", about 210 pounds. And what they do, they really make you honor every threat that they have, whether defending the quarterback, the fullback, the halfbacks, the tight ends, or wide receivers. They'll spread the ball out all kinds of different places. So, it's a scheme that really has challenged a lot of people. It's challenged us in the past. Our players are really excited about this football game. Our coaches are excited about it. It's our last home game. So with that, I'll open up to questions. Yes,
Craig, you mentioned Hammond, the quarterback. I know that you mentioned they played a couple, but he seems to bring a kind of a different dynamic. He seems like he can throw it as well. What you've seen on film? What does he really seem to bring?
Well, he does have the combination to be able to throw and run. He's got good physical size. He operates the offense well, and so anytime you have somebody that can be multi-threat like he is, that just stresses the defense. And so we're assuming that's who we're going to see this week. He was not listed as a starter last week, but he started all game, and so that's what we're planning on.
Last week you said that you kind of wanted to address the playbook as it relates to Sean Chambers and maybe make him a little more balanced and use the bye like that. Did that end up happening during this bye?
Yeah, we think it did. There's certain elements we're doing. Certainly he's still running the ball some, probably more than what we've run a quarterback in quite some time, but I think he's got the ability to throw the football, and we're doing some other different things in the running game. Certainly with a bye week, we've been able to add some more things offensively as well. Yes.
You guys have had pretty decent success slowing that option down compared to what they usually have done in the last couple of years. Just what is the biggest one or two keys to stopping that or slowing it down?
First of all, I think our defensive coaches have done a great job as far as getting themselves acclimated to option football. Some of that goes back to maybe some of the time that we had when even though it's a different style of offense going against Georgia Southern, those years we were in 1AA football. But just because we've had some success in the past doesn't give us a template that we're for sure going to do well. But our coaches work really hard. We do have disciplined players that make sure they're doing the right things. We'll get stressed, but we feel good about our players and the scheme that we have.
What's the challenge in preparing for that when you don't practice against it?
Well, simply because everything's new, and what this offense does, it makes you be assignment bound, where sometimes you can take on a different play and you'll have pursuit that will cover something. Here you have to be assignment bound, and when they have the ability to throw the football, like Robert brought it up, that just stresses you more. Yes.
Just follow up. I mean, obviously it is option football, but it seems like they use a lot of different looks and sets. Or is it still the brass knuckles of it still option football, or because they do it out of so many multiple sets that it's even more of a challenge beyond just option football?
Well, they certainly have diversified their offense from the pure wishbone or flexbone, as most people would call it. I mean, they're in I formation, they're in shotgun. So they make you cover the waterfront, but the elements of option football are still there.
Getting Granderson back in a game like this where your team is going up against triple option, is that a game changer for you?
I wouldn't call it a game changer, but it's certainly helpful to have Carl back. We supported Carl. It was a death in the family that he missed the San Jose game, and he came back and he's had a good week of practice, and we're anticipating him playing well.
Craig, I know it's your senior's last game, hopefully obviously more football, but what is this senior class meant? I know every senior class is probably special to you and your staff, but in particular, what has this class meant?
You know, these guys came when there really wasn't a whole lot. Certainly our facilities were not where they are. We hadn't had a winning season in a while. It was a new coaching staff, so these guys bought into the belief in what our coaching staff was not selling but presenting to them. So there was a faith and a trust, and these guys, it'll be tough for me personally to see these guys run out one at a time as they exit and play their last game at War Memorial.
Coach, you talked about the Air Force defensive front.
Mm-hmm.
Have they adjusted much in terms of what's made them more effective this year than years in the past you've seen?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's not so much adjusted. I think they just have better players, and they're bigger and they're stronger. They penetrate. They establish the line of scrimmage, and anytime you can do that, that poses problems.
You're battling Air Force for bowl eligibility. I already know your answer on it. You're just trying to go 1-0. But is there talk in the locker room about getting this game so you can go to a bowl?
You know, I think all the players, you know, everybody, Air Force is in the same situation we're in. And so I'm sure their mantra is exactly the same as what ours is. I mean, we all recognize, first of all, this is a big ball game, and we're trying to extend postseason play, but guys are mature enough to know, as the coaches are, that postseason play goes out the window. You got to focus on this game.
I know, like, every conference game or every game's big, but, you know, obviously we know a lot about the border war, but would you consider Wyoming and Air Force a rivalry, at least since you've been here? I'm not heated or not, but is it a rivalry, I guess?
You know, I think a lot of it comes into the proximity. You know, the two schools have competed for a long, long time in the old WAC and the Mountain West. I know our players enjoy playing this game. As coaches, we enjoy it. I'm sure they feel the same. That's it. Thanks.